Philadelphia 76ers strike first as the Raptors lose game one, 131-111. I'm Randy Urban, and welcome to Raptors Night Cap. Tonight, I'm joined by Jack Armstrong, Paul Jones, and Sherman Hamilton. Sherm, how are the 76ers able to take Toronto out of their game tonight?
Well, a few things happened. First of all, early in the game, I thought the Raptors got caught. Fred getting those two quick fouls really impacted their ability to stay aggressive on both sides of the basketball. And, you got to understand, I feel like going into this game, everybody knows what the Raptors' strengths are. They're great on the offensive glass, and they're an excellent turn you over and capitalize off those turnovers. And I thought Philadelphia from the jump were very cognizant of that and were very aggressive on the Raptors' glass. And defensively, I thought they did a good job protecting their glass, and they didn't cough the ball up. And I thought that they made it a station-to-station game early in this game, and that really benefits Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So, you tip your hat to Philadelphia, their ability to make sure that the Raptors weren't able to find a groove and play to their strength early really impacted the Raptors' ability to find that rhythm and to find that groove. And there was a lot of pressure on Philly coming into this game. Mm-hmm. The question swirling around James Harden and can he perform and what their bench is going to be like. And I thought Philadelphia, for the most part, did what they're supposed to do at home. You're supposed to come out, establish it, get your crowd involved, and kind of take control of the game. And they did that. And unfortunately for the Raptors, they really struggled to get any flow because I think Fred's rhythm was taken off early in this game.
Mm-hmm. Jones, it looks like you want to talk. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, same thing. Our old friend Dwayne Casey used to say it's a street fight, and you want to hit first. You want to be aggressive. And Fred getting two fouls within 58 seconds curtailed his aggressiveness. I thought Philadelphia did a good job of, everybody's looking for, what are the Raptors going to do with Embiid? He didn't get his first touch until 3.5 minutes were gone in the first quarter. But he got on the glass. He scored with offensive rebounds. He kept the ball alive. He set good screens. So all of this, what do we do with Embiid? Embiid didn't have the ball to do anything with him. Tyrese Maxey hurt them. James Harden did a nice job early. And then to Sherm's point, fast break points, 29-10 over the course of the game for Philadelphia. Offensive rebounds, 17-7 Philadelphia. All of those things that were Toronto's strengths, they could never get to them. I mean, you look at the final box score, Raptors shoot over 50%. They score 111, 112 points, and the game's not close because Philadelphia neutralized them with all the other stuff. Now, going forward, here's the key for me. Can Philadelphia continue to do that and keep Toronto from playing to its personality? It's one game. Mm-hmm. It's first to four. And whether you lose by 1 or 100, it's one game. Can Philadelphia keep doing that?
Jack.
Randy, one point. I give Doc Rivers and his coaching staff a lot of credit. I think they had a great week of practice in terms of preparation. And we always talk about this. When you give coaches extra practice time, and Doc talked about this was like training camp for them. And to me, watching them play today, they played a very steady, sound, fundamental game where they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. And Sherman, Jonesy, you guys know this. We've watched Philadelphia over the years, even with really good teams, make some really silly turnovers and blown assignments and not being on task and on point. Mm-hmm. And I just thought they played like a very mature, polished, prepared team. And to me, that they were ready for the Raptors. But as Jonesy said, it's now, we play Monday, you play Wednesday, and, things start happening quick. And you then get down to who your habits are rather than what your preparation is, because there's less time. But as we know, this is turbo chess. Things change quick. And the biggest two chess pieces for Toronto right now, Scottie Barnes and Thad Young, we don't know what their status is for Monday. And that's a significant development for a team that saw Scottie play a great game, his first game as a playoff game as a rookie. And Thad Young is one of your more dependable people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sherman, let's go a little bit deeper on Scottie Barnes, because for me, he's not just, the engine out there at times for this Raptor team, but his personality is the Raptors, is the personality of this team. And I felt like it was super deflating when he went out and he wasn't even able to, walk that off a little bit. And that's kind of bad, right?
Well, there's no question about it. It's very concerning. I mean, when a player is not putting much weight on the injured ankle, usually when the ankle's rolled and a player feels confident, they'll kind of limp it off and get some help or put some weight. And when you're not putting weight on it, it's extremely concerning. Mm-hmm. The one thing about Scottie Barnes in this game is that he just continues to impress me. He's got no fear. Like there's no fright factor in him. He's going to play. He's going to engage in the battle. Sometimes you see two fighters go to the center of the ring and then one fighter starts to retreat. Scottie's not going to be that guy. He's going to stay in the middle. He's going to throw blows. And I've said this about Scottie multiple times over the course of this season. Scottie's not only a part of the starting unit, he is sometimes their de facto leader in terms of bringing that energy, bringing the charge, and bringing the fight to the other team. We've seen him do this before, and to see him step up in the playoffs, and we all know the playoffs are a whole nother animal. You can talk about it all you want. These guys that played in the NBA in the playoffs, they'll tell you, you can't understand it until you're in that fight. And Scottie not having it. So I thought he got into that fight like, hey, I've been here before. I'm good to go. Whatever you want to throw at me. And it's really tough to think about this lineup without Scottie Barnes in it. And that says a lot about who he is and what he brings as a young player, because he's so versatile. He impacts both sides of the basketball, and he's been relied on for what he brings to his team for their success this season. So, we all sit here and really hope that Scottie is able to go. But to your point, Randy, it was very, very concerning seeing him go down, and more importantly, not seeing him put any weight on that ankle as he came off the floor.
Yeah. And Jonesy, going back to what Sherm said about, there's always this little question about first-year players or players' first time in the playoffs. You just never know until you see it for your own eyes. And it really literally took me, 2 possessions to go, okay, this kid's fine. This is more than fine. This guy he's got it.
He left the game early. He almost had a triple-double.
Yeah.
First playoff game, he almost has a triple-double. And to your point that you and Sherm were talking about, Scottie's not one of those drama kings either. Like he doesn't, when he gets hit, he gets up, he dusts himself off, and he plays. And I guess that's what struck me. It's kind of like, you got your son or your daughter, the kid falls, and when your kid's a drama queen and screaming, the world's going to end. Come on, get up, you're fine, right? And the kid that doesn't do that, when they lay down, it's like, oh man, this is bad. So it struck me that Scottie didn't get up right away, and he had that assistance and couldn't walk it off. And Randy, a 20-point victory or a 20-point loss, we always say in the playoffs, it's 1st to 4, and it's only one game. Whether you win by 20, lose by 20, win by 1, lose by 100, either side of the coin, it's one game. Philadelphia's held serve so far, but it's only one game. And I would feel okay about Nick riling the troops up, watching video with the obvious correctable mistakes if they were healthy. The one thing that derails you more than anything else is not being healthy. And they've got 2 key pieces that are question marks.
Jack, Embiid came out aggressive. He wanted to make a statement, not just on the glass, but every time he got the ball down low. What did you think about the Raptors defense on him overall?
Well, I think what he did was he ran a lot into the middle of the floor and got deep. And he's a hard guy to dislodge when he gets that deep. And I think he continually made an effort to get to his sweet spot. And for me, I just think that he was very forceful in his approach. His numbers, if you look at them, aren't overwhelming by any means. But I think I said it's almost like he's got like gravity within him, and he's got a magnet within him. And he and James Harden they draw the attention to themselves, and it really opened the world up for Maxey and Harris. And you look at Maxey's numbers, you look at Maxey and Harris, the Raptors didn't have any 2 players, and I'm talking Siakam and Van Fleet that combined for that type of game. So But that's why, so often we talk about in the NBA playoffs, when you have that star power, even if that star might only get you 19 points like Embiid did, his presence makes others around him be able to do things that are maybe even better than we've ever thought they could do.
Mm-hmm. Sherm, do you game plan a little differently on Tyrese Maxey then for the next game? Or do you say, okay, well, he's probably not going to do that again and just go with what you were doing?
I think what we know about Tyrese Maxey is, we're talking about Scottie Barnes. He's got no fear in him either. Yeah. He can go. And I think the interesting thing about Tyrese Maxey is he makes that team faster because James Harden is going to play at a certain pace. Joel Embiid is going to play at a certain pace. But when he gets in the game, he can be a one-man fast break and he can create tempo for the team. And I think if you're the Raptors, you're going to have to pay attention to him. And again, this is something I thought going into this series. We know if James Harden got it going and found who he used to be, he's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. But the two X factors is if Tobias Harris can find where he fits in this situation, and if Tyrese Maxey continues to mature the way that he's been doing it all season long. Because if he gets that playoff confidence and he's able to maybe not give you 38, but he can give you 22, he's still a problem. Mm-hmm. And I think the Raptors are going to have to pay attention to him. Look, you held Joel Embiid and James Harden to 11 of 32 from the floor for 41 points. You got the job done there. You did what you're supposed to do. But now you've got to pay attention to Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and make sure that there's some energy exerted in trying to contain those guys. And the flip side of that is the Raptors really didn't have performances like that. We know Pascal's going to be better. We know Fred's going to be better. Gary Trent Jr., OG, like all these guys are going to be better. So there's going to be some neutralizing effect there. But you can't let a guy score 38 points and then say, well, we're not going to pay attention to him. Mm-hmm. This is a real player here, and the Raptors are going to have to pay attention to Tyrese Maxey.
Mm-hmm. Jonesy, this to me kind of is a perfect game for Philadelphia, right? They had, no turnovers in the first half. I don't even think I've ever seen that. And then they finished with 3. Now, having said that, how do the Raptors tie it up on Monday? What do they need to do?
Well, I think I've been beating this drum for a while now. You got to stick to your personality. I would pick up my defense. I would extend it a little bit. Make Harden work a little bit. Look, they sniffed him out on the other end. When he was guarding somebody, they went at him and they got scores. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the offense wasn't the problem, but you got to slow him down. Pick him up, extend a little bit, make him work a little bit. See if you can frustrate him. Maybe get him to give the ball up. He reluctantly gives it up. Don't let him get it back. As Sherm said, you can't ignore Tyrese Maxey, but at the same time, hey, he made 5 threes tonight. Keep him in front of you. I love Sherm's line when he talks about it with some players. Don't overreact. He's a great player. But you know what? If you're going to stand out there and make 5 threes, you're going to make 20, 22 threes over the course of the first 4 or 5 games in this series, then I'll tip my hat, brother. You beat me because that's what I wanted you to do. So I think for the Raptors, they've got to pick up their defense, get back to their personality, try to create turnovers, try to run, pick up the pace. You saw a little bit of that in the third quarter when they cut the lead from 24 down to 11, and then it dissipated again. You got to hone in and get back to being you.
Mm-hmm. Jack, same question. How do they tie the series?
I think Jonesy nailed all the points. I'm not sure how much more I could say, Randy. I'll just say 2 things. Number one, when you look at the Raptor half-court offense against Philadelphia's defense, even though the Raptors shot a higher percentage, the question you have to ask yourself is this. Do I want to play 5-on-5 half-court against Philly, or do I want to run? And I think the answer would be I want to run. And then secondly, I think if you're Toronto, you got to look and say, what to me is our personality? Who are we? What are we about? So whether Scottie Barnes or Thad Young play or not, I think there has to be that level of desperation now that you come out and play with, that the personality of the whole game fit Philadelphia's personality and it didn't fit Toronto. So those would be the 2 things that jump off of me. Like the Raptors had to play Philadelphia's game the whole night. Like the game played them rather than playing it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how I feel.
Sure. Now, I will say this. I think when you look at this game and how it was played, to Jack's point, the Raptors really didn't have their characteristics, their fingerprints in terms of what they do well on this game. And I think, and I think what we've seen from the Raptors are when they're down key players, they understand their margin for error is ever so slight. And if they are down potentially a Scottie Barnes and a Thad Young, I think we're going to see a razor-sharp Raptor team that comes out aggressive defensively, that gets back to who they are, get the tempo of the game up because of their defense, get out in transition, attack on the offensive glass. The Raptors can't be forced into another game where none of their strengths are being displayed, because they won't win this series if they don't continue to do what they've been great at in the regular season. So I think the focus is going to be very, very sharp in game 2. And I think they're going to come out swinging haymakers from the jump.
It's always, Randall, it's always the team that loses that is the more desperate the next game. So to Sherman's point, that's exactly what I expect. Nick Nurse has lots of video to comb over and to show them. And you could see it. That wasn't the team that we watched for, I don't know, 70 of 82 games. That was not the team that was on the floor this evening.
And Jack, maybe not let Embiid shove you all the time, right? Like the guy was out there shoving nonstop, even just little ones here and there. I'm like, what's going on? All right, we're going to
that though, Herbs, just quickly, just to that.
Yeah.
What Joel Embiid is doing is saying, I've been here before.
Yeah.
You're a team that derailed what I wanted to get.
You're standing
so I'm not
in
even
my
going
way.
to be pretty about this. I'm not even going to be friendly about this. It's the playoffs. I have an objective in mind, and this is what I feel about the situation. If I'm the Raptors, I'm like, perfect. We don't have to shake hands. We don't have to smile. We don't have to joke. Let's just get at it. And I like Joel Embiid's approach. It's the playoffs, man. You're not trying to be friends with anybody. You've got certain objectives to achieve. Forget about the handshakes. I'll shake your hand when you lose the series. But I think the Raptors have been sent the message. And Joel Embiid, he's just being physical with them. You got to respond to that. You've got to stand up.
Yeah. All right. Going to stop you there. Raptors will try to respond on Monday night in Philadelphia. Tip-off goes at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you after the game.